There's also this going on in the United States. Today, Jewish students at UMass Amherst are on edge after a fellow student is arrested for assaulting a Jew on campus. The school confirming the incident, saying, quote, an individual approached participants and made aggressive and rude gestures. Later, this person returned, assaulted a student who was holding an Israeli flag and proceeded to steal and spit on the flag.
That's right, punched him. This comes as thousands of pro-Palestinian protesters raged in Washington, D.C. before descending on the White House, smearing the gates with red paint. They estimated at one point the crowd in Washington was 100,000 strong.
Yeah, I wonder who paid for all that. Fox News correspondent Griff Jenkins was there. He joins us live from the White House, where that red paint is still there.
Yeah, good morning, guys. That's right. There were tens of thousands of protesters here, and they were chanting that controversial chant from the river to the sea, obviously calling for the elimination of the state of Israel, and they were demanding a ceasefire. Let me show you some fresh images. I just shot these coming in a few moments ago. The red paint, the handprints, on both sides of the gates here where you come in, still not removed. That picture taken just moments ago, you can see how much it was. We were outside the White House gates when they were yelling, climbing the fence. Here's a little bit of what we saw. Take a look.
From the river to the sea. From the river to the sea. Palestine will be free. Palestine will be free. From the river to the sea. From the river to the sea. Palestine will be free. Palestine will be free.
Genocide Joe needs to halt his actions immediately and realize that he's going to face massive opposition from Democrat voters next election.
Is Biden a terrorist? He is. His hands are red with blood. They're soaked in blood. The blood of the children, the innocent children of Palestine.
This is not Israel. This is Palestine. This is our ancestral homeland.
Do you support Israel to exist, or are you saying get rid of Israel altogether?
Get rid of it.
There is only one solution. There is only one solution. Intifada revolution.
Israel is terrorists. They kill the children. They bomb the hospital. They do a lot of things bad in Gaza.
You see Israel as terrorists?
Yes.
What's the flag? What's the message out here?
Well, queer liberation, Palestinian liberation, liberation for everybody.
And so, what about the LGBTQ rights not being respected in places like Gaza?
Well, people keep bringing that up. Maybe Hamas doesn't like queer people, but queer people like Palestinian people and would like them to be free.
Do you condemn Hamas, or do you support their efforts?
Do you condemn 75 years of occupation? That's the answer.
I am not going to condemn Hamas.
Should Israel exist?
There's no Israel. Israel is a fascist state. Yeah, and I'm anti-fascist.
You're going to breed Hamas when you continue to keep occupying the people. Hamas will be everywhere when you continue to keep occupying the people. That's it.
The U.S. points to Hamas in Gaza and say they're terrorists. Do you agree?
That's unacceptable.
And guys, I spoke to the Answer Coalition director. They're the group that organized all of this. His name is Brian Becker. He's been doing this since the early 2000s. He says this was the largest pro-Palestinian demonstration that's ever happened in Washington, and he called Saturday's effort a sea change in public opinion against what he called an Israeli narrative put forth by Netanyahu that it was a justified war in Gaza. Guys, I'll send it back to you.
Those are some shocking sound bites. Griff, given the fact that, the estimate is could have been 100,000 people in the pro-Palestine rally over the weekend, how many of those people actually work for the U.S. federal government? And how many of them might actually work for the White House? Because I've heard things about how certain members of the president's staff are more pro-Palestinian than they are pro-Israeli.
That's a great question, Steve, and the answer is I don't know. However, I can tell you that Answer Coalition bussed people in. They had bus pickups. I was on the distribution list from cities like New York, Boston, Tampa, from Cleveland, Ohio, all across the country, more than 70 buses, many of which were sold out. There was one bus I had video of, I was playing over the weekend, of a group from Atlanta, Georgia, chanting "From the river to the sea" as they rode up. Answer Coalition started after 9/11, and they've been out here since George W. Bush started a war in Iraq, and it is a highly organized effort in bringing so many people here. As to how many people work for the federal government, it turned out on Saturday, couldn't tell you, but it definitely was in the tens of thousands, if not, as you mentioned, some estimates, 100,000 or more.
Do you think most of them were Middle Eastern, or do you think did you think it was a mix? Or do you think are they just sticking up for their homeland and they live here? Or they've been radicalized for some reason?
Brian, I think there was a large number of pro-Palestinian Americans, and we talked to several people that were carrying the Palestinian flag that wanted to turn out because they're concerned about what they see happening to civilians in Gaza. However, as you saw from that package, what was most striking was the number of people that refused to condemn Hamas, as if what happened on October 7th was somehow justified in that they somehow see the Hamas organization as some sort of freedom fighters. That was troubling. And the other thing that was troubling that we didn't really want to show is the number of swastikas in place and over the Star of David, equating Jewish people to Nazi Germany. Guys?
Which is just nuts. It shows how confused they are. Were they out of their minds?
Thanks for working this weekend, Griff. Great report.